welcome to our raft debate. So continue to eat your pizza. I'm going to have everybody start to get a little bit more quiet. I'm Kelly Braun. I'm our Associate Dean for Admissions here and also an OBGYN, and apparently loud enough to moderate this event. So I will be your host extraordinaire. We're going to get started with a little video, and then I'm going to get an introduction to how this is all going to go down.
Let my honey come back. Sometime I'm on a rat back jack. Sometime I get a hump in my back. Sometime I'm going over here. Sometime let my honey come back. Sometime I'm on a rat back jack. Sometime I get a hump in my back. Sometime I'm going over here. Sometime let my honey come back. Sometime I'm on a rat back jack. Sometime I get a hump in my back. Sometime I'm going over here. Sometime let my honey come back. Sometime I'm on a rat back jack. Sometime I get a hump in my back. Sometime I'm going over here. Sometime let my honey come back. Sometime I'm on a rat back jack. Sometime I get a hump in my back. Sometime I'm going over here. Sometime.
So we encourage you to be loud. We encourage you to cheer on your debaters. So I'm going to set the stage for you. This is 2017, and the powers that be, or that shall not be named, have determined that the world is in a bad state and our resources are scarce. We have to make a decision. So what resource will our community preserve to continue to educate the community's future healthcare providers? Before you is a life raft, and it is the last raft available. Only one of these kids can get on. So we have been convened here today as the jury, and we will make a determination whether we should preserve an honored teacher or the investment that we have made in technology. So this is kind of the thing that we are up against today as educators. So on this side, we have technology, Mr. Technology Pants.
Yeah.
So Mr. Technology, he is accessible, he's flexible, I'd like to see that, and available to everyone at one, there we go, unless the electricity goes out. So he is here and available. On our other side, representing the teachers, is Miss Teacher Pants. So although she can't be everywhere, she is present, empathic, and that is only if you can get a meeting on her schedule. So we have Miss Teacher over here. So with that, I'm going to open up their debate.
So I'd like to start with a couple of points before we move forward. So how many of y'all have an iPhone or a mobile device? Yeah. All right. How many people are willing to turn it off for the next hour? Yeah? Okay. How about for the next day? How many of y'all are willing to let go of your mobile device and or iPhone for the rest of the week? Yeah, we'll talk after the session. So technology is here, and it's powerful. And if, as educators, we don't adapt to this wave, we'll either be overwhelmed or our learners will suffer. And so I want to provide a couple examples to you of how it's been integrated. So over in the nursing college, they had an issue where their learners were going out to do home visits, and they didn't have enough faculty to go with every single student. So they purchased some software, and they added it to laptops. And so when the nursing students would go to the home visit, they would videotape the interview. It was all approved in advance with the patient. After it was done, they would look at the learning objectives of what they were supposed to cover. They could easily grab video clips and attach it to the learning objective. And then they would self-assess, how well did I accomplish that objective? And then they email it off to the faculty member who's doing other things, who can then pull it up, see the objective, see the video clip, make some comments saying, yes, you did this well, here's some timely feedback, and it's back to the student like this. That's technology, efficient and effective. Another example is my co-host here, Henry. Simulation is an opportunity for us to practice over and over at something. So imagine an anesthesiology resident who can spend the evenings, weekends, working on intubation. And they can do it in many complex situations, a pediatric case, an obese patient, one with a collapsed airway. All of that can be done with simulation. And so I think that's going to benefit our patients more. And for me, I would rather be practicing on Henry than have my physicians practicing on me.
I can see the headlines now, Mr. Technology. Yogi supports murder. Downward dog transitions to corpse pose. I am not arguing that we shouldn't use technology. What I'm arguing for is that education is primarily a human connection to another human being. This is not just about filling our students with content. This is about connection. Think back to your mentors when you were in your training program. Who are the people that actually helped you learn the skills that you need to be a professional as you are now? Do you remember your modules? Do you remember your PowerPoint presentations? Do you remember any of the technology that you used? Or do you remember the people that helped you understand medicine or nursing or dental education and the patients that helped you understand a disease process? Teaching is fundamentally a human connection. It is also a socialization process. We are in the process of training individuals into becoming doctors, nurses, dentists. This happens over a period of time. We are not just filling empty vessels with information. Everything we do slowly is building an identity of what it means to be a professional.
So I feel like I need to go to meditation after that. That's profound, and I feel like I need to go hug my favorite teacher. But being a...
Or call them.
Or I could call
Call
them.
them,
But,
text them,
but I agreed
video chat.
But I agreed to give up my cell phone for a week. I was the one hand in the back that said I will give it up. But being someone that teaches technology myself, so I'm an OBGYN who does minimally invasive surgery, I put people in a lab all the time to work on those hand-eye coordination skills so that they're not essentially learning all of that on a human being. So they both have excellent points so far. So let's give it up for Mr. Teacher Pants, technology Pants to start with. And Miss Teacher Pants. So we encourage you to get loud. They have some more points that they would like to go over. So I'm going to turn it back to technology.
So here's the reality. We have a growing number of learners. It doesn't matter what college you're from. Growing number of learners and less faculty time to complete all the teaching that needs to be done. For example, here at MCG, we have hundreds of students scattered across Georgia and thousands of faculty doing that teaching. And can you imagine things like academic half days where they all have to come back to one central place to do the teaching? No, there's other means to do that. And even when the teaching's going well, there's one attending. Imagine surgery. There's one attending there, and I'm going to ask you to spot the medical student. So we've got a fellow, we've got an upper resident, we may have the intern, and then we've got the patient, we've got the sub-I, if you could, and then the medical students over there. And even on the best day, and we have fantastic teachers here, how do you teach when you've got that continuum of learners and you've got a patient that's life is in your hands? So doesn't it make sense that those learners came in more prepared and had a role, and that videotaping could be done during the surgery to be looked at later? So let me go through a couple examples. So WebEx video recording, and people have different opinions on it. But you can look at it anywhere in the state. You can sit in on a meeting or a teaching session And it's all right there. And you can communicate, you don't have to come in. And it's available 24/7 after that because of the recordings ability. You know, this is going to be similar to what's already happening in medicine. Telemedicine is a growing part of the medical profession. Not every patient is able to get to your clinic or to your center to be treated. At Eisenhower, they have somebody doing telemedicine where there's a doc in a room, and anywhere in the United States, somebody can come to an ER, they recognize it's not an emergency, and they say, okay, we're going to link you in telemedicine. The nurse and the staff person, wherever they're at, say Nashville, and then the doc here's asking the questions, doing the work. Very efficient. So we're moving in that direction. It's a reality. If I was in northeast Georgia without a lot of resources and starting to have stroke symptoms, I would love it if my rural hospital telemedicine in to this unit here and says, this is the case, we got this, and they can make some recommendations to somebody who's not fully trained in that setting. So technology, like WebEx, prepares you for that next wave that is coming.
Mr. Technology, I'm really sorry. Have you not noticed that there are no online degrees to become a doctor? Have you noticed DeVry, Ashford, Phoenix University? None of these programs offer online medical degrees. And why is that? It's because medicine needs to be taught from another human being. We need the correction from another person, and we need the teacher-student interaction. So I'm sorry, but I actually saw I saw one of your students listening to your lecture yesterday, and this was him. And I heard Dr. Chu say earlier today that multitasking is very ineffective, right? All right, we do not do it well.
But we're talking about advanced medical students, health professionals. Dr. Chu, come on, aren't they going to be able to multitask better? All right, so maybe I'll give you that point that multitasking is not the best way. But let's talk about D2L. D2L is a way for all kinds of information to be deposited online so that learners can access it as it works for them. So this means if a student wanted to prepare in advance of a presentation, they could do all the readings. All of it could be integrated right there, as opposed to trying to pick up a handout that maybe the teacher hasn't finished yet. All of it can be loaded up. Quizzes are there. There's, during the presentation, they can be looking at material backwards and forwards, taking notes. All of that is being done on material that's been posted. And quizzes. All these things can be done online. Messaging, things back and forth. Being able to chat with the professor. All that can be done through D2L. Can it be more effective and efficient? Yes, but as more of us embrace it and learn how to use it at its potential, it has a great way to increase the flexibility of our students. So tech is the way to go. Yeah, come on.
Do you have a counter to that? Don't you have a video to show?
I've got a slide.
Yeah.
Oh, where's your technology now, Mr. Technology? So you can bring it to the party, but can you fix it? Can we get IT? Is there an IT person in here?
Hang on just a minute. We up?
Okay, yeah, we're back on.
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you.
Where was I? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, yes, the teacher was speaking.
Oh.
I'm new to medicine. About 2 years ago, I was hired on at MCG. And all of my colleagues said, in medical education, we use technology. Fundamentally, that's where we are moving. And I thought, okay, I'm going to do a study and I'm going to use technology. So I'm studying the concept of ownership. What does it mean to take ownership of patients? I went into third year, fourth year, residents and faculty, asked them, what does it mean to take ownership? I took their information and I created this video. You're not listening to the sound. I brought it back to the students in their third year orientation of internal medicine. And then 8 weeks later, I did a focus group. And I said, tell me, what do you remember about my presentation about ownership? How did it help you? And what they told me is that it created a heightened awareness of their own ownership-taking behavior. They noticed when they take ownership, when other people take ownership, when they're constrained from taking ownership, and who constrains them. By the way, it's residents. Just FYI, if anyone works with residents, that's where we need to go. But they said what we need is our residents and our attendings to say, in this moment, you've taken ownership. You could have taken ownership right here, but you missed an opportunity. You did not take ownership, and here's the result of you not taking ownership. In essence, what they told me is that they need that human connection. They need somebody there to tell them about these constructs in situ, in the situation, not through a module. Free hugs! Free hugs!
Sounds like kumbaya, holding hands. There you go. Oh, a little connection. Who needs a little connection? A little love. Oh, there you go. Students, you want this from all your faculty? Yeah, big group hug.
Karsh wants a hug. I see Karsh trying to get a hug.
How much did you learn from that hug? Go ahead, keep.
Oh, yes, I will. So I did a second study. And I reached out to our culturally and linguistically diverse students. So as you know, MCG is the most culturally and linguistically diverse of any other class that we've had in our history. And I interviewed them and I said, tell me about your educational experience here. I want to know, what are your cultural assets that you are bringing to medical school? I don't want to know what you think you're going to learn. I want to know what you're bringing. Right? This is a very different question. And what they told me is they feel that this experience of medical school puts them on a continuum. On one end, they feel like they're being trained to be a robot. On the other end, they're struggling to be human. And I said, well, tell me about that. Why is it that you feel the field is asking you to leave your human part at home and become a robot? And they said, because we are constantly being told what we need to learn. We are constantly being told all the information that we don't know, that we need to have to be effective providers. There is no room for us in the curriculum. I don't know about you, but I don't want a robot working on me. I want a human being caring for me.
There's a classic video of a human being teacher that I'd like to share. And I have suffered through some of these teaching moments. So if you wouldn't mind sharing this.
In 1930, the controlled House of Representatives, in an effort to alleviate the effects of the
Anyone?
Great Depression, passed the tariff bill, the Hawley-Smoot Tariff Act.
So at least our learners could at least go through that at 1.5 speed and waste less of their time, or to skip over the things that weren't useful. Would you prefer to sit through that? So imagine compliance training in a room like this and having this individual, and we complain about doing it online for an hour. How about a half day?
So our millennials are clapping back there. Have any of y'all ever seen Ferris Bueller? Okay, so I'm getting some. Paige, I know you've seen it. You're in the same age group. Boo, you don't even count. But our younger generation is like, a lot of times we will age ourselves, and I wondered when he put that clip up, had anyone ever seen it? But way to bring technology in, Mr. Technology Pants. So these folks are giving really great arguments as to why they're more important. So on technology side, the learner doesn't have to be present. So for instance, when you're listening to your medical school lecture, do you go to class or do you double and a half it and save time otherwise, or you're out on one of our regional campuses, but you don't have to come back. So the learner doesn't always have to be present when technology is there to help assist you with that. We're a very mobile society. But on the other hand, we have our teacher here, and she says it's all about the personal connection, and so you don't have to have these big fancy buildings. So when I was in medical school here, which was a long time ago now, we didn't have this building.
When was that?
It's been a minute, Ralph. I use good eye cream though, so I'm trying to still stay young and fresh. So, but we didn't have this. We didn't have these buildings. We didn't have this technology. We had the Hamilton wing over there, and I think I still turned out pretty darn good. That's a personal reflection, and it may not be what the group decides. But you know, what was that about my learning that made it impactful? Was it the technology that I had, or was it my amazing teacher? So I think they're both putting phenomenal points out there, and it's going to be for us to decide. There is one raft. One of these people get on that raft. And so I'm going to open it back up to a little bit of debate. Yell at them, scream at them, get them fired up, but there is room for one of them to duke it out to get on that raft.
Thank you, and I intend to be there. Point number 2 is flexible. Here's some synonyms for flexible. So I spoke earlier about simulation. Now imagine getting on a plane and your pilot has not participated in any simulation training, has not prepared for all the different kinds of events that could happen. Would you prefer to be on that plane, or a plane where somebody such as the one who had to crash in the Hudson, who had done similar exercises like that, but nobody was hurt because he had practiced it? I would say a similar thing in the physicians. So if they can perform the same procedure over and over and get better at it, well, then that's the way it ought to be, right?
Does anyone else find this creepy?
As I was saying, so imagine the learning.
Wouldn't be creepy if it was, well, maybe it would be creepy if it was a human being, but it's even creepier that it's technology.
I haven't got the social skills, maybe, of a teacher. So imagine a learning experience of a teacher, and we'll use that more broadly, who knows your knowledge coming into whatever that learning experience is. They know you based on lots of data points in advance of how well you're doing at things, how well you did in the previous exam, not just whether you aced that test, but the areas, the sub-areas that you weren't as well at. Now, imagine they were able to provide you with frequent and specific feedback tailored right to where you're at. And so if we go one more slide, I want to show this is what we're able to do with adaptive learning strategies. Adaptive learning, if you're not familiar with that, but it's up to the learner as to when they go in, they look at material, and then when they succeed at it, they move on to the next level. If they're struggling with something, with algorithms, they know, okay, I'm going to present this material in a different way. So you don't see the same video over and over. Like if you ace the section on pathophysiology, boom, you move on. You may get it shown to you a couple more times to make sure you're maintaining it. But if you're struggling with it, it doesn't do any good to have the teacher explain it the same way over and over again or seeing the same. They can have a half dozen things lined up and see and immediately test you again. What pieces have you gotten? Oh, you got this piece. Okay, now I'm only going to show you this new information. So it puts the power back to the learner, our consumers, to decide how much time and effort they're going to put in, to be able to move at a pace that kind of fits better for them. So I don't know if you want to comment on that at all.
Are you trying to say that technology is very flexible?
That's the word. It's flexible. The learners are able to be the most flexible. And technology is as flexible.
Ralph, I got your flexibility right here. How much more flexible does a teacher need to be? Teachers are the most flexible tool out there. Technology is only as good as the pedagogical information and basis that the teacher has. Otherwise, it sits there dormant in silence. You need the teacher to run the technology in a sound way.
Next slide, please. So I'm talking about thousands of data points that this computer can hold on your performance alone, on your performance over courses. So if you look at the paths, everyone's taking different paths. We got some rabbits who finished it in the first week or two. Imagine going through some of the first and second year, moving through an accelerated way. If you've been well prepared in undergrad and you get the material, you move through that section much more quickly. There's other areas you need to improve on, then you're going to spend more time there, at the turtle pace maybe. If you've got certain modules that you want to dedicate more time to, you can leapfrog some other things and at different times go back to it, do a whole bunch, don't do anything with it for a while, and we gather all this data. So I guess what I'm trying to say is imagine the power of Google, the power of Amazon. And when I go to Google and I'm typing something in, it doesn't just randomly, like if I type in Disney World or something, it doesn't just randomly pop something up. It's going to know, based on my whole history, all those cookies, that I probably am a family, member. They're going to know about my bracket of SES. They're going to know so much about me. They may even know that I'm a faculty member and that I'm probably going to be coming during these times. So imagine all that power being used towards good. That being targeted towards the learner and being used so that they can move through a curriculum in the most efficient and effective way. And ultimately, better patient care and outcome later. So I'll end with that.
So for those of you who don't know me, I come from teacher education. That's my background, and I'm new to medical education. And I have a very, very different view. Coming into medicine, I have had to watch and observe physicians, nurses, people in the dental field, physical therapy, and I've tried to figure out what do they value, what is most important. One of the observations that I've made since I've been here is one of the very first questions that people ask each other is, where did you do your residency? What was your training program? And why is that the most important question, the first question to ask someone that you're just meeting? It's because where we're trained, who we're trained with, makes an incredible difference. It's not just access to resources. It's access to important, smart people in the field. And we know that education is a socialization process. We know that we learn to think, to speak, to act like the people that we spend our time with.
I'm glad you brought that up because y'all can make a little noise for that.
Very gracious.
So you mentioned it's the who you were with, who you had spent time with, how they had taught you. Well, a couple weeks back, I took a few days off and went to the Stephen Curry, Michael Jordan basketball camp. Spent 3 solid days with them, shadowing them, getting feedback from them. And let me tell you, I got it going on, So yes, it's all about the modeling, right? Mm-hmm. Next camp, I'm going to learn to slam dunk. They told me that takes 2-day camp, pay a little extra. So I agree what you're saying is I am near pro basketball player because of having been a member of that program and hanging out with those supermodels that were dating the basketball players.
So, Ms. Teacher Pants, do you have a response to that? I think there is no response to that.
There is no response.
There is, it's. So we've had some valid points here. We're going to have to make a decision.
Wait,
there is.
Wait.
Oh, whoa.
I have one more point.
Uh-oh.
Of course he does.
Let's talk about role models for a minute, because that seems to be a big thing. So, teachers are human, and they're fallible. They have implicit biases. They have assumptions. You know, you come into my clinic, I'm already sizing you up, what I think you can and can't do. I may not be aware of it, but I look at each of you, and I already have certain assumptions. There's all kinds of literature that we do this on an automatic basis. We, pick up we find out this baby's a little girl. Oh, isn't she cute? She's going to be a great mom someday. Like, pick up the boy. Ooh, he's tough. He's going to play football and be the next president. We have these biases, and so I don't know if you want to speak to that or me to give you the ultimate example of a clinician socializing how to practice medicine.
Oh, I'll see your example.
All right. So let's go to the next. Let's wait.
How old are you? 60. You're lying. That's not the point. You never seen Dawson's Creek? How long are we waiting?
2 minutes less than when you asked me 2 minutes ago.
Got it. Start counting. How many? 26. Okay. Either you suck at math, or you're gonna die in 2 seconds. You suck at math.
So I've
Mr.
never had
Technology.
an a-hole as a video module judging me. But this is what you get on your side, you run the risk of.
Yes, but I think you made my point. You cannot give this person a video to teach them how to have good patient interactions. You cannot unteach them the kinds of behaviors that he's exhibiting in this situation. He needs a strong mentor. He needs somebody to step in to say, this is acceptable, this is unacceptable. Here's what you're doing, try this. So I'm not buying it.
All right.
So what is it? We have one raft, and we are talking about the future of our physicians and our medical profession. And we can save one. We can save our technology, or we can save our educator, our physician with the personal interaction. It makes me think. I'm an OBGYN, and I teach minimally invasive surgery, and we have a simulation lab where I take our residents in there, and they have a very stringent curriculum for which I run them through. And is it the resource that I have in there for them that makes them good when they get in the OR? Or is it because I'm standing right there with them, walking them through and say, redo this, change your hands this way, this will make you more efficient. Make sure you do it this way, because when you get in the operating room, you're going to need X, Y, Z. So we have to decide which of those two things are making our physicians prepared. So we've got one spot on this raft for either technology or our educator. And so I'm going to open it up to the audience to begin to ask them questions to get that spot on the raft.
Hear it. Yes.
I have a degree in teaching and a
Do you have a microphone? Oh.
Okay. Let's get some technology in the room here. I don't have my glasses. Can you turn that on, please?
Right? Oh, is it failing? Is it not working? It's actually working, Justin. It's working.
Check, check, check. User error. Technology is not the problem.
Okay, this is much better. I'm kind of soft-spoken.
We couldn't plan that any better if we tried.
I was saying that I have a degree in teaching and a degree in distance learning, so I can see both points. One of the things that I've encountered in both degrees was Clark's idea that technology is just a vehicle for delivering information. So what I would like to propose is that, Mr. Technology, would you be comfortable to be the one rowing the boat and you ride the boat.
So technology is the engine, is the power behind, and without technology, we would go nowhere. Is that basically, yeah, I would be good with that.
It's the engine, but the teacher's the navigational system. The teacher has the goal in mind, the far distant place that we're trying to get to. You can row all you want, but you'll be rowing in circles.
So which is it? Is it the technology that drives? Is it the educator that's there to drive the technology? So we have to make that decision.
Have
Other
time?
questions?
Do we have time?
We got
Yeah.
more questions.
I didn't like anything on that one, so let's,
So now that I have a microphone and I know how to use it, I
yeah.
can bring it around.
Yeah.
You only got one spot on the raft. There we go.
I'm sorry, Roger, that's all the time we have.
And I am quite embarrassed to know that it took me about 5 minutes to turn this microphone on. You'd be embarrassed that I do operate.
So, tech guy there.
Yes.
Who creates the technology?
Oh,
Puts it all together?
doesn't.
Aren't you just a tool?
So after the teachers have spent a few hours putting together technology, they can move on, right? Think of the money we could save. Just, MOOCs are put together by universities, and maybe you get an expert to do that, and we could have MOOC courses here, where why not have the expert in the United States put together the material, use technology, and then we access it here.
What's the completion rate of MOOCs, please?
So it depends if you're talking about towards getting a degree, which costs money, or otherwise. I'm assuming you have an answer to that.
You have an answer?
The dropout rate is quite high. I can't cite an exact percentage, but MOOCs by nature are openly available, so there's no fees involved, from my understanding.
So,
Does everybody know what that is?
so MOOC is a what does it stand for?
Massive open online course.
Massive. So they put it out. Imagine like D2L on steroids times 10, where an expert has pulled together material and people can access it for free. My response to you is I teach first-year medical student in the first couple weeks, packed house, feel like a rock star. Then I get invited back in the second semester. We want to talk about the dropout rate for people coming to listen to the teachers.
Let's actually hear from some of those millennials over here.
It goes from 100% to maybe 25%.
All right, guys. This is your future, right? So you have to get one of those on that boat. What questions do you have? Somebody has to have a question over here from the technology group. All right, ask them a question.
Karsh, I haven't done your evaluation yet.
Unlike the previous two question askers, I'm profoundly undereducated. So my only thing is, we already talked about how technology is like the vessel to whatever the teachers are bringing, and then you counter that with that you could have terrible teachers. I think this is the first time that I've experienced personally that people say they have different learning styles, and what the only thing technology may offer to that is multiple teachers, essentially. It's not really like there's a lack, it's not like there's like a difference in how it's appreciated by the students. It's just that there's a different teacher in front of them. So whether or not people attend your lecture, it's not necessarily like they don't want to attend your lecture, is that they want to give you the utmost attention that they can. And sometimes that's not directly in front of you.
Is that what y'all call it?
Yeah, that's what I came up with really quickly. Yeah.
When you don't show up, the teacher gives you more respect. Okay, all right.
I feel better respected right now. Right.
I have like really high respect rates then. It's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions? We're going to have to make a final vote in a minute. Yes. Oh, okay.
So just like a comment on attendance rate. So especially for me, it really depends on who the teacher is in the class, because we have different learning styles. You guys have different teaching styles.
I think that's a point for me.
No, it's a point for me.
Oh.
a professor can be amazing at what they do, but for me, maybe they talk too quickly during class, and so I'm kind of on board with teacher using technology because it can be a really good lecture, but maybe they just go too quickly, and using the Echo system, you can pause them, rewind, go over what they just said again, instead of sitting in class kind of dumbfounded listening to a professor talk too fast.
So I don't know your name, but you're my new hero. We heard earlier today that teachers often do not get
This is
enough-
Matt.
Matt, okay. I'm going to come shake your hand.
Your
when we're
new
done.
favorite.
Yes,
Matt.
my new favorite. Teachers often do not get the kinds of pedagogical training that they need in order to develop their courses well. So what we have is called a transmission style of teaching, or a banking style of teaching, which is this idea that students are empty vessels and that it is our job to cram as much information in there. So I really appreciate your comment. Teaching is an art as much as it is a science. And the more we spread that message, the better our educational system will be, from preschool on through post-secondary. So thank you.
And we had one more, looks like two more comments.
Yes. So Tasha, this is for you because I want to vote for you, but I just took this basic life support training, and I'm a psychologist and I don't have any medical background, and it was online. It was so fancy and sophisticated, and I passed it, and I feel on top of the world. Not in a bipolar way, Dr. Youssef, but just I feel like I know how to save infants, adolescents, older folks, adults, and I just learned that with only my psychologist background from sitting at the computer, and it really soaked in. So that I can continue to vote for you, how could you wrap your head around that simulation that I took, that now I'm an expert in something that I have no previous knowledge on?
So I've got the perfect answer for you. You have learned one way to move into an emergency situation to help that person. What if the patient that you encounter isn't that typical story that you trained from? What are you going to do? How are you going to change your practice, your methodology, your approach in order to treat that patient for what they need? That's the role of a teacher. The teacher doesn't just give you declarative knowledge, right? Facts, figures, information, content. The role of the teacher is conditional knowledge, when and where to apply it. So I appreciate that you really felt like you are an expert in
I was exaggerating
safety.
a little bit, but so if anyone chokes right now, I'm not going to really help you. But
hopefully you have a place in your mind where you can acknowledge that you may not be prepared for every situation and that you need somebody to help you do that. I learned that from Dr. Javahari.
What I heard was Dr. West is ready to skip the certification part that involves teachers and all that kind of real life person stuff. So we should just skip that part. Is that your point?
Well, I was trying to get Tasha's opinion so that I could continue to vote for her, but you're right. I felt so comfortable in my office doing this. It felt like a game. I knew exactly how long it took for me to save this person, and I didn't have to go anywhere and have to sit in a boring lecture.
And it's the feeling that makes the most importance in physician care.
I don't feel comfortable with it.
Okay.
Well, I know.
Okay.
I know.
All right.
You had one more comment?
One more from Dr. Tipler.
Maybe I can convince her for you, Tasha. So I was giving feedback to my third and fourth year medical students yesterday, and everyone knows how I interact with people, and the comment that they made to me was, so if I go into a patient room and they're laying in urine or in their stool, I'll clean them up myself. I don't say anything, I just grab gloves, I start going. And my students and my residents all started doing that with me without me ever even asking them. And when I was giving all of them their feedback yesterday, they said they would never have learned that from a computer or from anything else, that they can only learn that by seeing somebody, and that's how they want to model their behavior.
I would like to table the vote for a day and a half till I can secure some more yes votes.
Okay.
Can we defer?
No, we can't defer. No.
Can I comment to Dr. Tipler? There are certain concepts, constructs, empathy, ownership, cultural competence, there are certain things that you cannot provide a module for. There are certain things where you need a real live person to demonstrate how to do this. So thank you for that example.
So thank you for your comments. I think that was incredibly helpful. So we have one raft, and we're going to have our deciding vote. We'll do it by applause, and the big applause winner can crawl into the raft. So we will start with Mr. Technology Pants. Give it up. Give him a little bit of love. Give him a little bit.
Give him love.
And then we'll go with Miss Teacher Pants. So I think the overwhelming majority, Miss Teacher Pants gets on the raft.
I appreciate being front and center on this debate. Human connection is so very important. The socialization process that we give our students in becoming medical professionals is so very important. I really appreciate that you see this importance because I feel that I'm among friends. However, Mr. Technology, I have room for you. Please stand next to me in the boat. There's room for both of us.
You drive. I'll be the power.
Oh, you got one. Oh, hang on. Wait a minute. Okay. There it is. You can't see it exactly, but this is Dr. Wyatt and Dr. Gillis, and above them says Freaks and Wonders. So appreciative.
At a conference.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody, for coming.
So, I don't have my glasses. I'm assuming it's Dr. Wallach out there somewhere. Did you want to say anything about our performance, or that affect our job performance ratings?
The Academy Award goes to... So good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to step in the boat here. Good to see you.
The captain.
Where's the wheel?
Oh, I just put it here.
Oh, yes.
Tasha taught me how to do this. So good afternoon. Good to see you all. Thank you all for being here. I just wanted to make a couple of acknowledgments. There's a ton of work that went into the preparation for this day. And I just want to acknowledge Ralph and Tasha. If you join me and give them a hand. And Ralph and Tasha have a supporting cast. You guys, everybody stand up here, please. Very much. These are the folks who staff in the EII office, and we're very grateful for everything you guys did to prepare for today. Kelly, thanks for serving as the moderator. And you all know Dr. Lara Steppelman, who's director of the EII. Thanks, Lara, for all of your work. And Dr. Chu, what an amazing presentation you gave today. Thank you so much. We hope you would consider coming back. So every medical school in this country serves 3 missions. And those missions are education, research, and clinical care and service to our communities. And they're all very, very important. But from where I sit, one of those missions is what uniquely makes a medical school a medical school. And that is the educational mission and the responsibility that we have to do the very best we can in assisting our junior colleagues learn all that they need to become the very best professionals that they can be. And that's our medical students, it's our residents, it's each of us, our junior colleagues and us as we progress through our careers. And so taking a day out for Education Day to remind us how important this mission is, to invigorate us, to teach us some new things is really important. I'm grateful for all of you being here today. I hope that you stay to the end of the program. And again, want to say thank you to Ralph and Tasha for all your work.
Thank you, Dr. Wallach. So at the top of the hour, we're going to have Dr. Chu come back and talk about similar things about learning and how much of a better topic can you have than how to study long and hard and still fail, where he's looking at the literature and looking at how different people study and teach and what kind of misconceptions we have. I think that can be very informative. So I'm inviting the students to stay on longer if possible. And for faculty, this is going to be really helpful for you as well to understand from a student perspective how folks are making certain study assumptions, because it may change how you design your curriculum, how you offer feedback, how you do handouts, things like that. So we will reconvene at the top of the hour. We will then have Med Ed talks, and if you've seen TED Talks, how many watch TED Talks on? So this is phenomenal. We've got a group of 4 different individuals who are going to have 5 minutes, 3 sexy slides to be provocative. And the idea is they are going to challenge us to think differently than we have before. And after that, we got a poster session and resources where Henry the Mannequin will be there, IT will be there, Medical Illustration will be showing you how they develop some of those images that y'all have been using in your studies, and there'll be food there.
We have a violinist coming to play as well.
So stick around. So take a few minutes break, and we'll start at the top of the hour. Thank you.
That's why you chose the community for the That was great. Thank you.